Welcome to The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. Join us every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Learn more about the Experience community at our website, local.theexperience.video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Experience is brought to you each week by these great sponsors. Aspects of Aging weekly talk show with Christine A. Smith. Unscripted conversations with experts. AgingBetterNetwork.com. Nancy Bakke and Best Entrepreneur Solutions. Transform your business's profit potential with proven strategies and tactics. BestEntrepreneurSolutions.com. The Jalot Home Team, Keller Williams, Mid-Willamette Realty. Serving Lynn, Benton, Marion, Lane, and Polk counties. Visit TeamJalot.com. And now let's get on with the show.
Hey, we you know what? We're really here.
We're
ready to
somewhere.
go. Yes, we're there.
Behind Joe.
We are here floating. Well, nobody got to see that very much, so I wanted to make sure everybody saw what was happening today.
Yeah.
And we are here on multitasking on the Experience Live with Russ and Scott. So glad you're all here today. It is an exciting day. I'm excited. Jeremy's here to get us started, so that's always a good thing.
You gotta pump up the crowd, right? He's like the comedian that goes out there before they tape the TV shows, right? Warm the audience up.
There you go. We'll let you do that, Scott. So anyway, here we go. And so thankful that it's a beautiful week. I've just had an amazing week so far. Scott, how about you?
Oh, it's great. It's kind of funny though, we've been doing this show for 3 years now, 4
Yeah.
3 years, coming up.
Yeah,
And Melissa Maloney did the opening for us for so long, and then just recently we switched out. It still startles me when it's my voice.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, wait a minute, is this our show? Okay, yeah, it's all right.
Oh wait, yeah, it's me. Yes. Well, that's all right. You're Mr. Radio Voice, as my kids always called you. So you're the one with the good voice.
I was at Podfest, right? Podfest was doing their traveling show, Pod Tour, and this guy had the best line. He goes, "I've got a face for radio and a voice for print."
Oh, that's a good one. Oh my goodness,
that was good.
Yeah. Well, I just get away with enthusiasm to make my voice sound good because I definitely do not have a voice for radio. Mine's too high.
Inspiration specialist right there.
There you go.
And,
here to inspire you. That's it. Well, Scott, I am, this has been a good week for me, which is always a plus. Mornings are always good for me. And just so thankful every day. We were talking about that earlier on the Experience backstage, being thankful for what God gives us and every day that we have to live. And especially as we grow older. Now, Scott, you're just young. You're just a young guy.
Just a kid.
But as we grow older, as you know, Scott, and as we face challenges.
Which is a good thing, by the way. Growing older is good, right? Because
wiser.
If you're not getting older, then you're dead.
Well, that would be, that is true. And
hey, I just want to throw out to people talk about being in a rut. And I heard this great description of what it means to be in a rut. And he said, this guy said, a rut is just a grave with both ends kicked out. Little country wisdom for you there. So
there you go. Country wisdom.
Try to mix things up a little bit. Find something different to do. Stretch yourself a little bit. Go to a different restaurant, a different coffee shop. Try something different. Walk a different route in the morning. Just change your life up. We're gonna have fun today because we've got a coach coming in. We love coaches on the Experience Live with Russ and Scott.
Well, and I am so thankful for our guest, Joe's, who's going to be with us here in just a sec, Joe Boehringer. But before we bring Joe in, I want to remind everybody a couple quick things that we're here every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time for your viewing and listening pleasure. That's right. Not only after we go live here at 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, then this sits on the platforms LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook forever. So you can watch, share, go back, comment, connect, whatever with people. And also, it converts to audio podcasts. So you can listen on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, whatever your favorite audio platform is. And we would love it if you would do that and share that as well. Also, we would love for you to join our YouTube community. And you know what? The easiest way, just go to YouTube, is go to the experience.video. But Scott created a little nifty thing called local.theexperience.video. And that encompasses all of our information, not only about Scott and I, but about our other shows. We have the Experience Local on Mondays. Scott also, I'm sure, is incorporating some information about the Waco experience in there. If not, he should. And so we have that in there as well. And so want to make sure that you hear all about what Scott and I are doing. So local.theexperience.video is a place to go. We would really, really, really love for you to. You can subscribe either way, but subscribe to our YouTube page because it is really starting to catch some steam here, right? With a little help from my animals. They're helping. So yeah.
I think I can.
There you go. Yes. That reminds me of my New York story, but we'll do that another day. So anyway, everybody, thank you for being here again on Wednesday. We're going to get Joe in the room. And if you have any questions for Joe, or if you just want to comment, or if you just want to talk to each other, please engage. Please engage. Start making comments. And everybody, listen, share this and tag your friends right now because you want them to know everybody's busy. It's Wednesday morning early, at least here where I am. Share this out and tag your friends because then they know we're on and they know Joe is going to have some amazing, amazing things to say. So with that, Scott, I think
as we're bringing Joe in, I'll just share one thing that I was thinking about is I remember when Wrigley Field was installed lighting. And this was back in the late 80s. So it's been a while, but I do remember things. And I remember when they were like the last major league stadium to put lights in. And the radio announcer had this great thing to say. He goes, "Oh, it's going to be so disappointing because now they'll be playing at night. No longer will we hear in the only afternoon game, the Cubs lost 3-4. So, well,
with that, I think that
we're going
to bring Joe in. We're going to save you with Joe here. Good morning, Joe.
Learn something new.
Good morning, guys.
He has something to share. He could do a little show and tell on that the Cubs don't always lose.
No, they don't. We're really fortunate. I was there when they were fortunate enough to win the World Series in 2016, which was quite a long time coming. Very passionate fan base, and to your point, Scott, it was the day games. They were the lovable losers. It was a great place to go hang out and have a beer, and you didn't know if they were going to win or lose. And some of the fans didn't even care if they won or lost. Actually, they were just playing hooky from work and were able to tell their friends. But that changed when Theo Epstein came in and was very fortunate to be a part of that group that came in with the intent of trying to change that lovable losers into something else, and we were able to do that. So I still live outside Chicago. It's a great sports city, and sports cities are always better when you win. So that was an awful good time to go through.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, listen, besides great memories, Joe, let's back up and let's hear a little bit about who is Joe Boehringer. What are you up to? What are you all about today? Go ahead.
Sure. Well, first of all, I appreciate the invite and chance to talk a little bit. I was very fortunate. I spent 31 seasons in Major League Baseball, front office capacity, was out in the field as a scout for a long time, had a chance to travel the world, worked up in Canada for a while. For those that might be old enough to remember the old Montreal Expos, who no longer exist, was up there for a time. Was fortunate. I met my wife up there. We did the baseball nomad thing for a while, traveled around, but ended up doing it for 31 seasons. And like many people, COVID was kind of a time to figure out, okay, exactly what do I want to do here? And that year, 2020, for those that remember sports at that time, everyone was in a bubble. And I was in the bubble for 4 months, living in a hotel, spitting in a tube every 48 hours, hoping I tested negative. And at the end of the season, it was the first time in 31 seasons, the grind of the job kind of outweighed the joy of the game. So it was very fortunate, had a lot of success and had a lot of great teammates who helped along the way and was in a position to be able to decide what I wanted to do next. So walked away. I had a couple of years left on my contract, but decided to walk away. It was time to do something else, and was fortunate. Just kept getting phone calls. How would you do this? How would you do that? And at some point I was like, hey, this is the third time you've called. It's not really an hour phone call. Let's do a workshop or a 3-month retainer. And so it led into some consulting, and was actually approached by an executive coaching firm about helping to lead executives. And it was something that I had done as part of my experience in baseball. I was always on the development track. I was asked to onboard people. I was asked to work with young leaders, work with people that had a chance to potentially lead a department. And it just was a natural fit. And when I was recruited, I was hooked up with someone else that had worked in the sports world for quite a while. And their kind of pitch, I guess, was, hey, elite performers are elite performers, and it doesn't matter the industry. And athletes are trying to be elite performers with their bodies, but a lot of executives are trying to be higher elite performers with their mind or their strategic thinking. And a lot of the routines and approaches and mindsets you need to take are very much the same. And I found that to be true as I've transitioned into this space. And the sports is a very high stakes, fast paced business. And if you can't keep up with what's going on around you, the sport tends to kick you out and find someone else. So the way players are kicked off rosters when they can no longer perform, scouts, coaches, front office staff, it's a similar dynamic. If you aren't able to keep up and contribute to help an organization be a winning organization, those jobs tend to be up for grabs. And I was really fortunate throughout my career. I happened to be with teams that were successful, from the 94 Expos, who had the best record in baseball, to, the Cubs winning a 2016 World Series, to my last stop, the Seattle Mariners. When I went there, they had the longest non-playoff streak in North American professional sports. Actually, it spanned almost 2 decades, but they were able to make the playoffs in 2022 and end that streak. And I was not there for that, but I was there from 17 through 20 and helping build the foundation that eventually led to that turnaround, just as I did the turnaround with the Cubs. So again, very, very fortunate to be aligned with good people that were able to make smart decisions in a very competitive space and see some success. And that has translated into what I've done now, which has been enjoyable. I'm at kind of that coach, teach, mentor stage of my career, and have been fortunate to be able to pursue that and do that more on a full-time basis.
The way you started your coaching is a good story. A lot of people, they want to start a business, maybe a side hustle, or they want to make it their full time, but they don't know where to start.
Right.
And often I'll give them that advice that you followed. I said, look back over the last couple of months, somewhere along the line, somebody called you up and asked you, can you help me with, and then fill in the blank. And the reason they called you is because you have a skill set. You can solve that problem. Then the next question you ask is, do other people get paid to do this?
Right.
Right. I mean, it's one thing. And so, but as I mentioned in our opening, we do like coaches, and we recommend coaches. I've worked with coaches. I've hired coaches. I've been involved with that because we can't do this on our own. And we often say that isolation is the killer. And so can you give us some of the insights that you have about coaching and about what some of the clues would be that say, I really need to hire somebody to help me up my game in the business side?
Sure. And you mentioned the phrase problem solving, and I think that's what it is. And all of us go through life, and I think a lot of executives as well, you are trying to solve problems. You're trying to deal with, whether it be on behalf of your own business or a company that you're working with or a department that you're running. You're always managing people, solving problems. And we all have our networks of kind of trusted advisors or people that we will go to try and get advice. And this just formalizes that. And a lot of times it allows people to get out of their kind of their immediate moment and stand off to the side a little bit and just exchange ideas on a sounding board. And something I've learned as in this space, there's really kind of 4 personas that you can take on. One is a boss. You just do this. You're just ordering someone or kind of formal authority telling them do this. There's a teacher, which is giving someone the curriculum or giving someone the content and then just stepping back and letting them do their own thing with it. There's the consultant, which is kind of relying on your experience and saying, okay, based on my experience, this is what I would recommend. And it's more of a directive approach. And then coaching is really meeting people where they are and saying, okay, what problem are you trying to solve and how can I help you? And sometimes you are relied on a little bit in your experience and you're asked to wear that consulting hat, but ultimately it's not about doing the work for someone. It's about helping them to come up with their framework to do the work. And a lot of people I've found approach coaching as, an area for growth. It's an area for development, an area for opportunity. And that's really the basic framework of how you do it, like creating awareness. What is the opportunity that you're trying to pursue? And sometimes it's the challenge you're trying to overcome. But if you do overcome that challenge, there's an opportunity or benefit on the other end. So trying to build it in a positive fashion. What's the opportunity that you're building toward? Creating awareness around that, then coming up with your action steps. What are the things that you need to do to try and get to that outcome? And then the third piece is really the accountability. Like, how are you going to be able to make that happen? Is it working with a coach? Is it relying on some of your coworkers or your teammates? Is it aligning yourself with an accountability partner, a person that you can exchange ideas with? But really just getting another voice, another set of eyes, another perspective. And I found it's really kind of formal networking. A lot of us, as we've gone through our careers, have had a network that we've relied on to help us do this. What the coaching space has done, and it really has grown out, is it's allowed people to try and set up expertise or access expertise to help them solve problems. But it all comes down to relationships. It's always about relationships. And there are some clients that you might connect with as a coach, and there's some clients that you can't, and then vice versa. If there's a client looking for a coach, it might not be just any coach that's able to do it. You do need to try and have kind of that, what we call a chemistry conversation, to figure that out. But it really is about true coaching is sometimes it's a mix between that coaching and consulting. You're becoming a sounding board that people can rely on or turn to help solve problems, but you're not solving the problem for them. You're helping them to come up with a framework to solve the problem themselves.
One thing I found, Joe, in my marketing coaching is basically listening to people is a good place to start. Find out all about them and what they're trying to do and what their problems are at the moment. I'm a huge connector, community builder, all about networking. Scott and I both are, because as you build community, not only do you gain clientele of people that want to work with you, but also you gain people that give you wisdom and help you refine your skills as well, because coaches need that as well. One thing I found, though, is I really believe that I'm one of those people that believe that everybody has a little bit amazing in them, that God has given us our own amazing talents and abilities, and it's pulling that out of people. It's showing them what they actually have and giving them the confidence, like you said, being that sounding board. Mm-hmm. What have you found, especially in the executive coaching world, that is people's biggest challenge, whether it be fear, whether it be limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome, all those kind of things? What have you found has been the number one thing is holding people back from reaching that level?
Yeah, and it's interesting, and you could break it down into, as you said, like fear or imposter syndrome. I actually think it's just the uncertainty of it. We can't predict the future. There's only some things we can control, some things we can't. And really working through what you can control and what you can't control. And I found it when I was first approached with executive coaching. The couple things that really were something that a lot of executives struggle with. One is the second order effects of their decisions. Like what's the potential fallout? What might happen if I make my decision? And the other one is just the sheer number of reps. Like, do you have a lot of decision-making reps under your belt, particularly in fast-paced, higher stakes environments? And sports was a great training ground for that. We play 162 games, and the next game starting at 7:05, whether you're ready to go or not. So you need to make sure, so there's kind of a sense of not really urgency, but intent. Like you really have intent to do it. And I think it's really helping people. A lot of what I've done, and a lot of the coaches that I've talked to as well, it's about helping people to navigate that uncertain space and trying to do it to put the odds, stack the odds, I guess, as best you can in their favor. We're never guaranteed our ideal outcome, but what can we do that makes the most sense to move us toward that ideal outcome? And just continuing to peck away at it. We all know that, consistency and a lot of the buzzwords that you hear are actually right. Consistency, collaboration, communication, dedication, persistence, all those things. Those are the right buzzwords. But the question is, how do you change them from buzzwords into your reality so that you keep moving forward toward your goal? And I think one of the things that I've found in this space, which has been very interesting, is really the industry working in pro sports for so long gives a perspective that lends itself very, very well to coaching. I've met a lot of people that are in a space, say they've been in the banking space for a long time and they're coaching in the banking space. And because they were executives in the banking space, they always had the option as a leader to be able to go, you know what, you're not picking it up fast enough. Like, just get out of the way. I'll help you do it. And sometimes that in the coaching space, well, this is how you fix it. Well, that might be how you would fix it. That might not be the ideal way that the client might fix it, or the executive you're working with might fix it. And what I was taught in the sports space very, very well was, no matter who I was talking with, I actually couldn't take the rep for that person. If I was talking to a hitter, at some point the hitter had to go take the at bat by themselves. I can't stand in the box with them. If I'm talking to a scout that's watching a player in Japan, I can't watch that player and write the report for that scout. So I knew where my kind of consulting, coaching, whatever it was, ended, and where I simply became a cheerleader. I was there for support as they went and took the rep, because I couldn't take the rep for them. So that's something that's lent itself very well, I think, to this space is a lot of people that come to look for executive coaching or looking for help. They actually want to learn how to take the rep. And it's something that, if they can replicate it and do it on their own, and they'll come back to you for the next problem.
That's a good deep insight. I like that. You can't take the rep for them. And, often when we talk about coaching, we use sports as the analogy. I mean, that's why we use the word coach, right? But in many cases, people have not been sports coaches. And so I want to take this advantage of your experience. And let's talk about some of the sports coaches that you've seen, because you've seen them at the highest level on the planet. Mm-hmm. And what are some of the coaching skills that you saw for the athletes that you really admired, and some that would contrast with that?
It's interesting, because I will say this, the teaching model for coaching has really changed over the years from when I first started. I did it for 3 decades. I started in the 90s, and that was before the internet, and before YouTube, and before video, and before travel teams and all those things that are part of the fabric right now. And if you think about it, we were, my generation, our generation, I see some gray hairs on the line, like our generation, right. We kind of grew up in the anecdotal storytelling teaching method. Like, our elders passed down the stories of how to do things. It was very directive. And right now, and when I first started, that was how players were taught. When a player came into professional baseball, the guy who rode the buses 10 years ago, that was who was able to try to show them the steps. And I think what's happened now is that so many players they have access to so much more information, and they get really good information at a lot earlier age. So now that teaching method has been changed from more of the anecdotal storytelling model to meeting the player where they are, and more information based. What information does the player have? What information does the player need to add to get where they need to go? And I think that particular has turned over really well in the executive space, and that executives, they have a lot of experience in their industry. They have a lot of knowledge in their industry. They have a lot of wisdom in their industry, usually more than the coach does. So the role of that teacher in doing it is more about helping them unlock what they already have to move them in the direction that they want, rather than giving them the info. So, but I think the main thing is, even the best players in the world in any sport, Serena Williams had a long-time coach. Like Michael Jordan had a trainer that was with him his entire career that was outside of the Bulls. Being that if you can help performers get better, and that's the whole key as a coach, if you can't help them move forward, then you're not the right coach. Not that you're not a good coach, you're just not the right coach for that particular person. But every coach, player, coach, executive, coachee relationship is about, can you help that coachee move closer to what they're trying to do? So that's the methodology. But I really think it has changed from the anecdotal storytelling to more of like an information management model, and helping them. We have overwhelming amounts of information in this day. And being able to separate the signal from the noise is a key component of being able to turn information into action. And sometimes that's all you're doing, is helping people sort through ideas to really try and determine what's the best one for them, so that they can move closer to what they're trying to achieve.
I completely agree with that. In fact, just like you said, not every coach is for everybody. That's the reason there's so many different people. We have our own unique abilities as coaches, and everybody coming in has their own unique abilities as the coachee. And so many times, you're right, it's really listening, sorting, helping, and cheering. A lot of that is helping them and holding them accountable in the long run for doing what they want to do themselves, but just kind of helping sort through and figure out what that is. I love that. So, well, Joe, as always, our show goes flying by, but we want to give you a last opportunity to kind of give us your gold nugget, what you really want everybody to remember from today's show, and then make sure and let everybody know how they get in touch with you. We have so many people that not only are watching live, but watching on replay, and we want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to touch base with you. So if you can do that, that would be amazing. Go ahead.
All right. Well, first of all, I appreciate the opportunity to talk today. This is something that, I've been really fortunate. My role all that time was always about helping players achieve their goal, like be a better performer, helping high achievers to achieve their next step, whatever that looks like. And having had the luxury to kind of step back and figure out what did I want to do, what I found was I actually wanted to do the same thing. I'm just doing it in a different environment. And I have been fortunate to be able to be intentional with what I want to do. I've really enjoyed the work that I've done in this space, and the fulfillment that I get is by helping someone else achieve, because I've been fortunate to have some achievement myself. So the ability to pay that forward, pass it on, and do it from a joint perspective with someone else has been very fulfilling for me. I have done corporate clients. I have done sports clients. I can be reached on LinkedIn. I do have a website. It's jbexecutivecoach.com. Just the first two, just the initials, JB, and then executivecoach.com. Always available. I enjoy helping people achieve where I can, and knowing that it's not really my achievement, it's their achievement. But when they achieve, I achieve, because it is a joint journey. I have people that I use in my trusted advisor network to help me achieve the next steps. And as I said, the chance to participate and possibly pay that forward with other people it's where I get my fulfillment at this stage. And I'm very, very fortunate that I have the opportunity to do so.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you. We here in the Pacific Northwest, not having our own baseball team in Oregon, are huge Seattle Mariner fans. So I just want to tell you that we appreciate all that you did to get that organization up and winning. And long time coming. So anyway, but no, really appreciate you today and all that you're doing with your executive coaching and just your heart, Joe. I just appreciate what you're all about. And from our first conversation, I just knew that you and I connected on the fact that we're all about people and helping and gaining fulfillment through other success. And I really, really appreciate you for that. And thanks so much for being here today. We appreciate you.
Well, I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you guys very much. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day and a great rest of the week.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
Great to have you here.
All right. We're going to send you out to the green room here and say goodbye, but hang tight for just 1 second. We'll be with you right after we get wrapped up here.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Wow, Scott, I tell you,
Good
we get
stuff,
some
right?
of the most remarkable people, as you would say, you know?
Absolutely. Every week right here on The Experience, live with Russ and Scott. Yeah, just great, some great insights with Joe. I love this thing about not being able to take the hit for them, right? You just can't step into the box and
Right.
and take their spot. And whether you're a formal coach or you're an informal coach, you're one of those trusted advisors. I think that's great advice for us to take. We can't live someone else's life, but we
No.
can help them live their best life.
Well, and I think that you and I would agree with Joe that sports is one of the best teachers for
Mhm.
teamwork and for coaching and coming together and how to help others. And I know you have coached, I have coached over the years, and it's such a remarkable thing to help young people move into that space of becoming successful because they have the talents and abilities. They just need to put those to work in the right way and
Yeah.
be able to help make a success.
And like Joe, I've coached at the highest level of Pop Warner and junior high track.
Yes. Yes, there you go. I'm not going to make you comment on that, but anyway, no, I tell you, Scott, I appreciate you. I appreciate every Wednesday. And, I want everybody to remember that we're here on The Experience live with Russ and Scott every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time with the most remarkable people, amazing people of value like Joe. Today's show, by the way, just remember, I know so many of you are still popping in late. You need to make sure and watch this on replay. It sits on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook forever. And share it with your friends. Comment, connect with Joe. He had all of his information has been ticking along his LinkedIn address. There is his, well, I thought I had it up there. There we go. There is his other contact information. It's all clickable in the comments, the show notes, all of that. So please connect with Joe today because he has got so much value, and you or somebody might need his coaching, and we highly recommend that. So, Scott, any last words?
I'll just say, I see
wrap
Catherine Lang in there. Catherine, pop the link in tomorrow because you're going to be on BizNet Sparks. I believe it is tomorrow. So always great to see Catherine here with so many other commenters. But thank you to Joe for bringing insights, for sharing his time with us. And I encourage people, find the right coach, hire the right coach. Don't try to do it on your own. Isolation is the killer.
Oh my goodness, for sure it is. So I appreciate you, Scott. And every Wednesday, it's going to be amazing. Catherine's putting up there, just FYI, it's November 7th. She's on BizPark. So there you go. And with that, we're going to wrap things up for today. Thanks, everybody. Remember, be here next Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific. If you can't watch us live, remember, we're also on audio podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, whatever your favorite podcast platform is. We're always having fun. So you want to join us next Wednesday. And Scott, thanks so much. You're such a blessing to me. Until next week, everybody enjoy your day and enjoy
the experience.
Woohoo!
Thanks for tuning in to The Experience live with Russ and Scott. If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or subscribe on YouTube. See you next time.